Hello and welcome again to the Awakened Path community. I am your host, independent spiritualist minister and healing minister, Reverend Candace Nadine Breen. You can always look for updates and get in contact with me by visiting www.awakenedpathonline.com. Again, that's www.awakenedpathonline.com. Well, today's topic, since tomorrow is the first day of summer, today's topic is the weeds of life. Some of us are gardeners. I myself love to garden. And despite always having reached what we deem as ultimate beauty and ultimate plant health and our perfect garden and our plants look so great, despite all of that, we still end up with weeds. Yes, weeds creep into our lives and they choke the life out of our beautiful gardens, our beautiful plants, and they can sometimes make us a little bit upset. And it's a long, never-ending task. But we must remain vigilant and remove the weeds that threaten to rise up out of the ground and choke the life from the plant that we have worked so hard to cultivate. Now, these weeds are representatives of something that we play an active role in creating or in managing. And no matter how much we water, fertilize, and work so hard to cultivate our garden, these weeds exist. Now that's symbolically, but also weeds exist in our own personal lives as well. And we must remain vigilant and remove these weeds before they get more harmful and cause chaos in our lives. I can give a personal example here. Many moons ago, before I met my wonderful husband and before we had children, I was much younger, a lot less wise, and I had met a person who was a complete and total opposite of everything that I was about. But I was just so happy to have someone who liked me because I hadn't dated in high school. I wasn't allowed to, actually. And I was too busy in college working my tail off with 2 jobs and going to school full time so I can graduate on time. And my last year of college, I fell for this smooth-talking person who was really bad for me. You know, being with this person caused me to become unbalanced, caused me to lose my spiritual connections and all the wonderful experiences that I've had with channeling and mediumship, psychopomp, all of those things sort of disappeared because this person was just so suffocating. He was like a giant weed that choked me and caused things to just not grow. My spirituality was hindered. My growth in that area was hindered. My psychic talents were suffocated. And eventually I woke up 4 years later and tried to remove this weed from my life by just saying, look, we're done. I've had enough. He was abusive physically and mentally. I've suffered greatly at his hands. And finally, when he had basically stripped me naked and pinned me down to the bed and tried to suffocate me by shoving dirty underwear down my throat, that was the last straw. Now, getting rid of this weed, this guy, was very difficult. He kept coming back and trying to intimidate me, worm his way into my life, saying I would be nothing without him, which was totally silly because I was actually much more without him. And that was a weed. And just like weeds that grow in our garden, we have to keep at it to keep it away. And eventually, we will reach a point in our lives where this weed no longer bothers us. And I reached a point in my life with this person that was violent. I reached a point where he no longer bothered me. And, I did the restraining order, or the court, all of those things. And even though he had his friends follow me when I'd go to school, I was a teacher, so every morning I had to go to school and teach. And they would follow me, and I could see them in my rearview mirror as if they had nothing else to do. But eventually it ended. The following stopped. I wasn't scared anymore. And my life was blossoming into this beautiful garden that I worked so hard to cultivate. And so, too, this is what we must do with our lives. We have to remove the things, people, situations that are not beneficial to us, that could choke the life out of our spirit and out of the lives of the people who are important to us. Now, weeds will come. They will come. Situations, people sometimes with their attitudes, you can't control it, but you can control how you take care of these weeds. Take care of, meaning getting them out of your lives, how you handle the situations. They will come no matter how much mulch or protection we have. But we must not allow them to choke our lives and to cause decay or death in our lives. And it does not necessarily mean physical death, but death of the spirit, death of the soul. And I had gone through that when I was in that violent relationship so long ago. And in order to keep these weeds at bay, we must be vigilant, and we must take action. We must remove these weeds as soon as we spot them before they become a bigger problem. Now, sometimes other people can see these weeds before we do, and that's understandable. That's what happened to me. But once you become aware of these weeds, you need to jump right on it and get them out of your lives. It could be a bad working environment. It could be a toxic friend or toxic relationship. It can also be our own selves with negative self-image, negative thoughts. We need to get rid of those as well. And that's really difficult. It's really challenging because we can never escape ourselves. But we can choose how we handle our thoughts, our actions, the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves. Now, I am a URI Master Gardener as well as many other hats I wear. And my children's school, I am in charge of the garden. It's a URI Master Gardener site, and I am the school Master Gardener there. And it was a long project. It had been 3 years of neglect before I came on board. And there were plants that have grown up that were tall as a preschooler. There were all sorts of overgrown vegetation. It was a complete disaster. Something not fitting for an elementary school, right? Elementary school should be life, happiness. And this garden definitely was not that. And when I took on this task, I got 22 volunteers for our first day of just stripping the whole garden clean, every single thing, everything that was growing, get it out. It didn't matter what it was. We're starting fresh. It took us that first day 22 large lawn bags, filled lawn bags. And we didn't stop there, but just that one day, we had 12 volunteers and 22 lawn bags. And it is still a constant battle. Things that For instance, there's mint that was planted long ago, but it keeps coming up. That's the thing with mint. It spreads and it takes over. And no matter how much mulch we put down and how we try to get down to the root and pick up and dig up all the mint that had grown out of control, they were still popping up in some places. And people ask me, why are you taking that mint out of the ground? It's great. And I said, no, it is a weed, because it is not supposed to be here. Now, the technical definition of a weed is something that doesn't belong. It can be a beautiful plant, but if it's in a place where it's not supposed to be, then it is a weed. It can go and flourish somewhere else. But if it is invading a space of another plant, or in a place where it does not need to be, then it is a weed. Once a custodian came to me, and we had put down some salt marsh hay in the garden beds, and it was all fixed up. We have the soaker hoses and everything was looking beautiful. And one day I'm out there weeding, and a custodian who's quite a character, he runs the place, he comes up to me and he says, "There's parsley growing here. If you cover the parsley with the salt marsh hay, it will die." And then he moves the salt marsh hay, and I'm thinking, what? This is like my area here. I don't know what he's doing and what he's doing out here. This is not his job. But I kindly said, no, it is a weed, because it is growing in a place it is not supposed to. There is a dedicated herb bed where there is parsley growing along with the other herbs, but it is not supposed to be growing with the tomato, the eggplant, and pepper plants. So please put that salt marsh hay back where it was. And he said, okay, and he walked away. So that's quite a funny example, but again, that's an example of a weed. And if something doesn't belong in your life, then it is a weed and it has to be removed. And I'm going to read something. I really fell in love with this book by Gunilla Norris. Gunilla has also written Inviting Silence and Simple Ways. Now, this particular book is called A Mystic Garden, Working with Soil and Attending the Soul. I love this book. It has some wonderful reflections and poems and things that relate to the garden and to our lives. And I found this one titled Bittersweet. So I'm going to take a moment here and read it to you. Deadly nightshade, stinging nettle, poison ivy, bittersweet. They are rampant, profuse, and clever in camouflage. Tucked under other plants, they wind through bushes and trees, affirming, it seems, their right to be part of, if not to dominate, the garden. As much as I pull them out, they are back every year, ready to participate, to climb up healthy plants and choke them, for that matter. Why should they not have their bit of the sun, their piece of heaven? Even now, at the top of the evergreens, the bittersweet reaches into air with a languid tendril, searching for further purchase. Their persistence is staggering. Their insistence is awesome. Could we be as robust in pursuit of our connections, spiritual or otherwise, as they are of their growth? The names of these plants are ominous, stinging, bitter, poisonous, deadly. From one perspective, their names are true of some of the qualities of their growth habits. They grow on other plants, dominate and kill what sustains them. Are we humans not doing this to the earth? I give these vines due respect, and I also pull them. They will be back, as will the deadly, the poisonous, the bitter, the stinging parts of myself. They are the tendencies that live in my inner garden as much as they live in the backyard. I must admit of them. I must watch them. And on the following page, there's a poem. She has, the way she writes her book, there's a topic on one page with a narrative piece, and then the next page there is a poem, and it's a very short poem, and I'll read this as well. It relates to what I just read. Here goes. In time, everything adjusts and comes to new balance. When the host is exhausted, the parasite dies. The laws of nature are just and inexorable. They are fundamentally kind. Now, this relates a little bit to what I said about the weeds in our lives. They can be people, other situations, even ourselves. And we must recognize them, respect them for what they are. And that means we can't try to make them into something that we want them to be. They are what they are. And knowing that and respecting that will make it easier for us to say, look, we can't change them. We can't have them because they are toxic. So we must be vigilant and work at trying to get rid of them. Now, just like weeding in a garden, getting rid of things that are toxic in our own lives, whether it be others, situations, or ourselves, does take time. And as long as we remain vigilant, we will beat down this weed, and then we can see our life flourish and turn into this beautiful garden that we can be proud of. So I thank you for listening today. And as always, please visit my website, www.awakenedpathonline.com, and there you can give me reviews, comment, join the forum. There'll be other features added in the future, but I definitely love your feedback, and I definitely love hearing from you. Until then, have a great day. Namaste.